Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. Mallam Go Podcast. We are back looking ahead to some crucial games at the Africa Cup of Nations. And guys, what a cracking week of football already. We've seen some dramatic matches. Oh, goodness me. DK.
Charlie.
We're back again, eh?
Charlie, top quality football, but...
Charlie, Algeria didn't start with a win. Nigeria didn't start with a win.
Egypt.
Cameroon didn't start with a win. Egypt didn't start with a win.
Ghana.
So, champ.
Some way. You didn't mention one team.
Ghana didn't start with a win.
As expected.
Ghana didn't start with a win.
Gradually, we are beginning to accept that we not be big boys anymore.
Oh,
so you see, when he was
Beginning to accept.
yes, when he was talking about the big teams that didn't start with the win, he mentioned Cameroon, Egypt, Algeria, and all of that. He didn't add Ghana. The relatives hitting home.
You know, we'll talk about Ghana. My confidence is that we'll not lose against Egypt. I'm that confident. That's why I even went on Twitter and went on radio to say that if we don't beat, I didn't say if we don't beat. If we lose, let me choose my words carefully. I said we won't lose. So if we lose against, if they should call me Salamatu, the people today are not even posting. I said Salamatu Abiba. From Salamatu now is Abiba. And the people that are not even posting training videos for me to see them. So I'm beginning to regret that decision. Guys, let's talk about the games coming up this week. And obviously on Thursday, there's a big game between Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria. There's also a big game between Ghana and Egypt. We'll talk about them very shortly. But let's talk about Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Bissau. Equatorial Guinea started the competition really well with that draw against Nigeria. I don't think a lot of people saw it coming, but they were bold in their approach. They pressed Nigeria's necks and they took the lead. Osimhen missed a plethora of chances in that game, but credit to Equatorial Guinea, they stood their ground, scored a goal and got a decent result. Can't say the same for Guinea-Bissau. They were totally outplayed by Cote d'Ivoire, beaten by 2-0. And you're not going to believe this. They are still looking for their first ever win at the Africa Cup of Nations. They've played 10 matches. Is that going to continue against Equatorial Guinea?
Look, I think it will be a much closer.
I think they're going to lose.
No, if there was ever a game that they could look and see they can win, it's a game against
Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah,
beat Equatorial Guinea.
Yes, against Equatorial Guinea. Yeah, look, Equatorial Guinea were not good against Nigeria. I don't like this results-based analysis kind of. Nigeria should have won that game easily.
Yes, but they didn't. That's
after Equatorial Guinea's first goal. In fact, even before then,
should have, could have, no. Everybody can say it too.
No, you see, but we don't. You look at how the game panned out, and then you translate it. They were lucky. Luck. You don't plan.
They made
luck.
Their own luck.
You don't make your own luck. If Osimhen is missing chances, that's not luck. What
you have to be there.
No, you see.
For example, Osimhen gets a 1v1. He shoots wide. The keeper has to make himself wide to make him think that the goal post is over there.
That's a poor finish. And that doesn't mean that it will translate. What you have to do is to prevent those chances from
being created.
Yeah, from being created. And they didn't do that.
Okay.
So they were really lucky against Nigeria. Yes, they got a 1-1. It looks good. Of course, if you draw against Nigeria, if you're Equatorial Guinea, you draw against Nigeria, it's a good result. But Nigeria should have won that game.
All right.
And I understand why most people are taking it from the angle of Equatorial Guinea and how they did well, because Nigeria, we all know they had their problems leading up to the competition, and I don't even think most people expected them to create and open up Equatorial Guinea the way they did, although they were very good offensively in the qualifiers. But the way they carved open the Equatorial Guinea side over and over and over again in that first game, I think it came on the blind side of many people. But Equatorial Guinea will have to be much better defensively against Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau were facing the host nation. But even that, I think defensively, Guinea-Bissau were a much better team against Cote d'Ivoire than Equatorial Guinea were against Nigeria.
And yet, only one of them has 1 point.
Yeah, but that's football. If you don't correct your mistakes in the following game, you never know what will happen. So I'm backing Guinea-Bissau in that second game against Equatorial Guinea.
Daniel, that is some confidence.
Yeah, I'm very confident.
For a team that has never won an AFCON game.
How many AFCON games have Equatorial Guinea won?
They've won quite. Even when they hosted the competition, they went all the way to the quarterfinals. Ghana eliminated them.
Then since then.
Since then, even the last competition, didn't they make it out of the group stage? Didn't they beat who was it they beat surprisingly?
Algeria, the defending champions.
Or it was okay.
No.
They beat
They ended, I think Algeria had a 64
They caused the biggest
game.
upset at the AFCON.
Yeah.
I don't know where the school of thought you belong to.
For me, I think Equatorial Guinea are big favorites for this one. Look, people are giving them credit for this, and I would agree with Daniel that this is one of those cases where the results influences the narrative about the performance. They weren't very good, but the memory that we have of Equatorial
they
Guinea,
were also coming up against Nigeria. How good did you expect them to be?
no, but per their own very high standards at the AFCON, they were poor. The Equatorial Guinea that we've come to see and Juan Micha and even throughout the AFCON have been a very compact, disciplined team that are clear in their mind how they defend and how they attack games. And if you look at the performance that they've put up over time, they've managed to get some really credible results. For my money, they were the second best team from the last tournaments. Played very well. They ended Algeria's 35-game unbeaten run. They beat Mali at the round of 16.
Yeah.
And they took Senegal to the wire in that game that Senegal beat them. If you look at their AFCON history, they have 100% qualification rate from the group stage.
That's right.
And I can guarantee you they are going to qualify the expense.
This is their third time.
This is their fourth time.
This is their fourth time.
They've made it to the quarters on 2 occasions. They've made it to the semis on 1 occasion. Look, I'm going to put my money and say that they're going to qualify at the expense of Nigeria because they play football that is very simple.
Actually, when Ghana beat them, it was in the semis, wasn't it?
Yes.
It wasn't a quarterfinal match.
So
the quarterfinal, Ghana beat Guinea.
Yes.
Yeah,
they play football that is very simple and compact. And that is where I feel they are going to show things up and revert to type in tomorrow's game that they are going to play again, because they are not that expansive a team. They are aware of their limitations and they don't push very high up the pitch. They don't leave too many spaces in between the lines. They cover spaces very well. And they are a team that has been trained to stay within the games and take that opportunity when they come, because they are not the team that is going to take the initiative to create too many chances and get high XGs, then to be able to take those chances. If you check the average Equatorial Guinea goal, and I dare anyone to go on YouTube, the average Equatorial Guinea goal at the AFCON, 9 out of 10 times, it is going to be a goal from the counter break, because that is how they are set up to play. But they have got an incredibly impressive record. Look, I didn't believe it that every time they've been at the AFCON, they've qualified out of the group stage.
Unbelievable. And you know what? One other really interesting thing about them, that every single one of their last 7 matches have produced under 2.5 goals.
Yeah.
So they're not a team that it's involved in a lot of high scoring goals.
No. And even last year that they went unbeaten, of the 7 matches that they played, they scored 9 goals and they conceded 3.
Unbelievable.
So they are not a team that going to score a lot of goals and they don't always let in too many. That was why that performance against Nigeria was surprising, how open they were. Maybe it had something to do with Nigeria's quality.
I'm going to give you one last hot streak, and for those of you watching right now, this will blow your mind. Okay, one thing I can guarantee you is that Ivan Salvador is going to get booked in the game against Guinea-Bissau. You know why?
One of those
because
guarantees.
he has been booked in 16 out of his 30 matches for both club and country.
You're kidding.
More than half of them, he's been booked. So, in fact, the biggest surprise out of the game against Nigeria was the fact that he wasn't booked.
He gets booked every other game.
Every other game. So this one, if the maths add up, the odds are that he's gonna get booked.
I don't know how much Betway is going to put on that, but if you're watching, that is one game that you want to make some cool money off.
Carlos Mani is the danger man for Guinea-Bissau. Obviously, it hasn't helped that in the build-up to this competition, they've had quite the number of issues they've had. The whole bonus issues when they're demanding to be paid appearance fee for every game, and then on top of that, I think they lost 6-2 to Mali. Guinea-Bissau. That's why I'm just not rating them against Equatorial Guinea. And Achu has helped my point by enumerating just how fantastic Equatorial Guinea are, especially at this tournament, and they remain unbeaten so far in this competition. But Daniel thinks there's going to be an upset. The first ever Guinea-Bissau win will come in that Thursday game against Equatorial Guinea. Let's stay with that group because there is a cracking game against or between Cote d'Ivoire, host nation, title contenders, and the Super Eagles of Nigeria. All right. The numbers are incredible. The last competitive game between these two sides was the AFCON final in 2013. Last competitive match.
No, that was the AFCON 7. Was it quarterfinal?
Which
2013.
20?
Is it 20? The last competitive fixture between Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire.
2013, yeah.
So that was a quarterfinal. That was on the final.
Yeah.
It was Cote d'Ivoire. Oh, wait. Who did Nigeria beat in the final? Oh, Burkina Faso. That's true. That is true. Thank you. They kicked them out of that competition. Exactly. No, 2, I think. Sunday Mba and Akpai or some. No, Akpai is a goalkeeper. Sunday Mba and somebody else. I think it was 2-0.
He was a guy who scored the winning goal for
Sunday
Nigeria. Sunday Mba.
I had mentioned his name, but I'm saying that it wasn't just one scorer. I could just check for you. It's just a podcast. It's not television. So I think the last time that they played each other competitively, you go back to 2013, and that match was actually 2-1 for Nigeria. Emmanuel Eminike scored. Sheikh Tioti equalized, and Sunday Mba got the winner in the 78th minute. So 2-1, and you're right. And this was in the quarterfinals of AFCON 2013. After that, I think they played a couple of friendly matches as well. Let's talk about the host nation. Everybody says they're looking like favorites. And their performance in the first game, they looked really, really good. They didn't have Sebastian Haller, but it didn't look like they had problems. Crasso came in, superb performance from him. And what a go as well. Listen, I don't know. Nigeria have never been kicked out of the Cup of Nations group stages since 1982. But if they lose this game against Cote d'Ivoire, suddenly there will be talk about that potentially happening. How do you think this is going to pan out?
They'll beat Guinea-Bissau in the last game. Nigeria's not going out in the group stage. Their last stop is around 16, not here. But look, I think Cote d'Ivoire will win. Nigeria were good against.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Nigeria were good against Equatorial Guinea. But this game depends on one thing for me.
Okay.
How I would predict this game depends on one thing. As it stands, Musa is not the midfielder who injured his knee in the first game. The Nigerian.
Omar Sadiq.
No, it wasn't Omar.
No.
Omar Sadiq is the one who didn't show up.
Interesting. Oh, by the way, even before you try to remember the one you're talking about, I just saw a news article that Omar Sadiq has been included in the club size squad for this week.
So say that.
So say that squad for midweek. It's unbelievable. And he was seen training with his club. He's supposed to be injured and out of the AFCON.
But he's fit for his club side.
Yeah. Oh yes, and people don't like that. It's like the whole.
Listen to Michael Essien.
Fatah Shahaku. It's the football gods have a very funny.
It's Yusuf Hassan. Yes.
Okay.
Hassan Yusuf. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He was a complete engine in the Equatorial Guinea game. I think he impressed me the most in midfield, and then he got injured. I think he was giving life to the Nigerian midfield in that game. Box to box ability, causing problems in both boxes, and something just went missing when he went out of the game. We all spoke about their midfield problems, and he was like the surprise element in the first game. And when that element has been taken out, I don't know if he'll be fit, but as it stands, he's nothing has come, and it looks like he'll be ruled out of that game. And if he's not playing in that game, it's going to be extremely difficult for Nigeria, because the strength of that Ivorian team lies in the midfield. We saw the understanding between Sangari, Seko Fofana, and then Frankesi in that first game.
That trio, man.
Yeah, you see, I said it at the start of the competition. They finally found a midfield that gels. in terms of profiles. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to ask anyone to do a job that is outside what they know how to do. And it worked perfectly. We saw the offensive runs Seko Fofana was making in that game. And he could make those runs knowing the security behind him, with Sangare cleaning up brilliantly. Sangare is not just your typical defensive midfielder. Very comfortable on the ball, can dictate the tempo of the game. And that's what I absolutely loved about the first game between Guinea-Bissau and then the Ivorians. They did a very professional job. In as much as you credit Guinea-Bissau also, the Ivorians were very professional on the day. But as I said in the previous episode, look, the Ivorians know how to rise up to the occasion. This is the fixture they had been looking forward to when the draw was done. And trust me when I say they are going to turn up. In terms of personnel, in terms of the group, I think they have a more complete team than the Nigerians. They have individuals in their team who are also really good and really on form. Nigeria,
so good that Sergio Aurier has successful for a place on the bench.
And nobody even noticed it. They didn't even notice it. That's the point. And you see, the Nigerians have problems. Equatorial Guinea were not the side that will open up the problems to see. But certainly for me, the Ivorians will open it. And I'm going to make a bold call. It's not going to be one of some of the games we've seen at this competition where it's close, exciting games where it's 1-1, 2-1. I think the Ivorians win and they win comfortably.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a 3-0, 3-1 win for Cote d'Ivoire in this game. Very comfortable win for them.
Chasam.
I think Danny just made some fantastic analysis, and my mind just went back to the Cote d'Ivoire team we saw at the last AFCON. How they looked at the back and the relative comfort with which they've played since then. Okay. And it all comes from the insurance the midfield gives them.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just looking at my phone. I was checking the numbers to look at that defense. At the AFCON in 2021, they conceded 1.23 chances per game.
Cote d'Ivoire.
Per 90 minutes, yes.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It was higher than Nigeria, who had nearly half of that, 0.57. Senegal, 0.60. Right? So those were the volume of chances that they were conceding.
So the defense wasn't great.
And if you look back at that team, there was a deliberate attempt to sit deep, right? Despite the midfield profiles that they had. A perfect example was the game against Algeria, where they ran out 4-1 winners, where the manager knew that irrespective of the quality that he's got, in order to give them the platform to play, they need to play a bit deeper and also protect the defense, because when there are turnovers, they may be forced into react in a manner that they may not have been coached to. And the time frame for doing that before the tournament was pretty short. 24 months on, we're looking at an Ivorian team that plays between 15 to 20 meters higher up the pitch than they were doing. And a coach is only able to do that if he is confident that his players can run up across the length of the pitch and then back without seeing significance or without being susceptible to significant changes to the shape of the team. So everything is synchronized. Everything has been pieced together. If Sangare moves, he knows that Seko Fofana stays. And when Seko Fofana stays, the distance between Sangare and Fofana is not crazy. It's not something that distorts the shape of the team.
Yeah.
The distance by extension between Fofana and then the centre back, be it Diomande or Boli, whoever it is that is close to them, it's in proximity. And for now, they've looked like a very well-knit side. Every time I watch them, I get very jealous as a Ghanaian football fan, because you can tell that a lot of thinking has gone into that team. But against Nigeria, they will be tested in terms of the chances that they are going to create. I think the trick, what I want to see from Nigeria is what? Go and clip the Nigeria-Tunisia match, the first 60 minutes of that match, and then replicate exactly what they did from the last AFCON, right? Chukwueze or any of those wide players on the right side who will be happy to vacate that side, the width, tuck inside, and allow Ola Aina to bomb forward. On that left side, get someone who's happy to hog the lines and combine with Zaidu Sanusi. Stretch the game and try to see what you can make from what. Because you've got a cheat code in Victor Osimhen further up the pitch. Look, even as wasteful
I think
as he
in that
was.
case, then you're probably referring to their game against Egypt, not Tunisia. Tunisia, they lost.
No, I'm talking about the wide areas. That's why I said the first 60 minutes.
Okay.
Because they played really well. And you see, this idea that Nigeria have to dominate and this fixation with playing flamboyant football is perhaps one of the reasons we are not seeing them looking comfortable.
Yeah.
They thrive on being very direct, get the ball into wide areas and get your best creators.
Because to be fair, when they won in 2013, the football wasn't memorable.
It doesn't need... Look,
It was just efficient.
It's only in Africa that we have this misconception that a good international team has to play an expansive brand of football. Yep.
I think it was like that in the 90s, to be fair. And Nigeria just seemed a little bit... I think they're still very contained in the, nostalgia, the Okocha era, the Nwankwo Kanu era. Those were very
stretch this conversation to the Copa America, to the European Championships, to the World Cup. In the last 20 years, the last time any team won a tournament with authority, being dominant, was Germany in 2014. But even for them, after the quarterfinal stage, they started being pragmatic because it is not sustainable. Yes.
Yeah.
Even in the group stages.
Yeah. So the two games were
their best, most expansive game was the first game against Portugal.
And then against Brazil.
Against Brazil.
And that is 2 out of 7 games.
USA, that game was very cagey.
Close.
Yeah, it was very
That
cagey.
is 2 out of 7 games. So look, Africans have got to accept that your team doesn't need... It is good to expect your team to play well. But playing well does not necessarily mean take unnecessary risks.
Okay, Dominic. So the question to you then is, how is that going to go? Who wins that match?
Ivory Coast. All of these things we're talking about are things I don't believe the coach is going to fix. Look, they did something well 2 years ago. They've abandoned it. We haven't seen Nigeria play anywhere remotely close to that. It will be unreasonable to expect that just because they had that scare against Equatorial Guinea, they are going to suddenly revert back to wisdom and then replicate everything that served them well in that game.
I think an experiment that Nigeria needs to ditch is it will be in midfield. He just runs around like a headless chicken. Well, in this case, a headless eagle. Am I right?
But why
I just don't think...
Why do they persist with it?
I just don't... Like, it doesn't have the...
Let's be calm.
Okay.
It will be in the last year, even in the Premier League, has been playing in central areas. In fact, let me say the last 2 years has been playing in central areas.
Yes.
They have a clear lack of midfielders in their team. So if you are going to, if you don't have midfielders and you have a player who, yes, he started off playing in wide areas, but in the last 2 seasons has adapted to be playing in central areas, then it makes sense.
It's just not working. Like,
for me, when you do that, you are assuming that, and this goes to Pesero, he's assuming that the tactical context that allow Iwobi to look decent at Everton are the same, or he's going to be able to repeat or recreate those.
I'm saying the idea sort of makes sense.
No, he's saying that it is not...
If you looked at the midfield three of Yusuf...
Aribo.
Aribo was even on the bench.
Yusuf Iwobi, who were playing in front of Onyeka. It makes perfect sense. Onyeka is typical DM stopper kind of thing. He can be very difficult to progress the ball. Thank you. And then you have Yusuf, who's very good box to box. You have Iwobi, who is more attacking. You see, and when the teams Iwobi plays in central areas for are not high-end teams. Maybe we are judging him with elites. If you are judging him...
Or pure central midfielders.
Pure central midfielder. If you are judging him based on players who can do a job, I don't think he's that bad. I think he can do a job for you. But the question is, what is Nigeria demanding?
What other options do they have? That's another question, isn't it? Because they don't really have a lot. A lot of options. But I think the key to this game, obviously, would be Victor Osimhen. I feel like he will get chances again. And the game against Equatorial Guinea, he was largely to blame. He was largely to blame. No, but I'm saying that even if he gets half a chance, he needs to make the most of it. He was getting big chances against Equatorial Guinea, and he was missing them. The African Footballer of the Year cannot afford to be missing such chances. You don't. And I think ultimately, for me, I think the key man for, and we can say all we want, but 2 key people. I have said this many times, that the AFCON is always won by the team that has a plan and a team that shows enough commitment and grit. You look at even Kraso coming in to replace Sebastian Haller, very unfancied, plays for Krevna Zvezda, I think, in Serbia.
He's really good. The guy is he
I'm saying that.
You are judging him. No,
he played one Chedi before.
No, let me
the guy he played one Chedi before.
You are judging Kraso by the standard he's replacing. If you are judging Kraso by Kraso is really good.
I get it, but I'm saying that he wasn't seen to be the guy that was supposed to lead Cote d'Ivoire to glory.
Because they have Haller.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the point.
But right now, in the absence of Haller, he stepped in. No, in the national team, to be fair, Kraso is good. But in the national team, he's never been the go-to guy for goals.
Yeah, because Haller is there.
Thank you. But I'm just saying that when you get the opportunity, you take it.
Yeah.
And he did brilliantly. That goal that he scored. Listen, when we talk about Lamine Kamara's goals, but that goal that Kraso scored, my goodness.
Application and inventiveness.
Oh, God. It was so good.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a goal. For me, if I'm the head coach of Cote d'Ivoire, I'm really tempted. Do I bring Haller into this game or I keep Kraso? You know why I'm saying that? Because Kraso's movement in and around the box, the nuisance he was causing there, how much he was disturbing the defense of Guinea-Bissau, and you know he will translate that against Nigeria. Haller is a bit more static, kind of bring the ball to me. He doesn't offer that much mobility exactly that Kraso offers. So it's a decision you have to make.
Interesting.
But you know what I like about that goal? You see all of these Dadabi strikers who come to the AFCON and they expect shot across the face of goal, tapping, cut back and then just side foot it into the net. That is not the AFCON. You work the AFCON, you get what you work for. Forceful application, inventiveness.
True. But we've seen some great goals at the AFCON, obviously. So far, I have to be honest, my favorite has to be Baghdad Bonichescu.
The one that was disallowed.
Not just that one, that was disallowed, but that was the best goal, the best known goal. Yes, it's just a touch for me. Like, it's one bam, look, we're here for business.
You know I like the goal? He's a very good striker.
Yeah.
He had seen the goalkeeper's positioning before he took that shot. Because he can't tell me he didn't see the goalkeeper's position. If the goalkeeper was in a more central area, that would have taken another touch, maybe. Very simple save. But clearly he saw where he was putting it and just slotted it right.
Yeah, fantastic goal. Anyway, listen, let's talk now about Ghana. The Black Stars. Okay. They lost their opening game.
Charlie, at the left.
Go bless our whole blood.
What are you doing? He's rehearsing for the Abiba song.
Black Stars, for whatever I will say. All right. All right, so right now, let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about, and I'm talking about the Black Stars game against Egypt, Thursday, 8 p.m. And listen, I went and I put my whole reputation on the line, okay? I put my reputation on the line. I even offered to change my name if the Black Stars lose to Egypt. So please, don't lose. Don't lose. I don't want to be called Abiba, please. I don't want to be called Abiba.
You already called Salamatu.
How many female names do I need?
The Abiba, no, which of them?
Very good Abiba.
Mr. Odros. Okay, that's Mr. Odros Abiba.
If I am going to be an Abiba at all, I have to be a very good Abiba.
That's a good one.
If I have to be an Abiba, I have to be a very good Abiba.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be Abiba. Hey. No. It's interesting though, because every time Abiba is used in a song, it is followed with. It's followed by A.
So I was coming to that. Even the one that you chose, to, there is an A.
That's what I'm saying. Rex Omar says, Abiba, something, I made the and then Mr. Drew. Abiba,
so Abiba. You don't know what he says there.
Very good, Abiba. Yeah, Nissa. Yeah, Nissa.
You don't know what Rex Omar says after he says,
I don't want to be called Abiba.
He says, "Wadongo tuone yamete."
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to say it. You I know.
But translate it.
Oh,
We reach a very wide audience.
Wanna Siano.
but even speaking of which, what's the meaning of adonko? You see, that is a very coded keyword.
Is that tour?
Yes.
Adonko tour.
So the adjective is the adonko is adjective.
No. Not that.
That's tour.
Not that.
That's why you have to. You see, when I say translate, you say you translate. Now I'm trying to understand it the way I understand you. You say not that.
What is the meaning of adonko?
What is tour?
No, that is evident. That
What
is
is
self-explanatory.
Is this? But I do like this. He said no.
I want the meaning of the adjective describing the tour.
Oh, you want the meaning of it?
What is adonko?
So
Bottom line, don't explain. Don't explain.
you asked me a question.
Okay, go on.
Yes.
Is he?
I've forgotten the correct name, but
I
when
know
go
you
to-
don't know.
No, I know. Wait, when you go to a playground, right? What kids and adults sit on to swing by, and then we rock on it.
So the Rocky tour.
What is this fixation with a tour?
Let's get back.
But you said it. I'm not the one who said it.
Let's get back to the football. Okay.
He's saying that
Bottom line. Why do you want to remain stuck on that?
I want to cure the mischief.
Okay.
It's not about curing this. We said something.
Don't say it
I
again.
said explain.
Wait.
You said you
So let me
explain.
explain to you.
I don't want to. I don't
You
want
were
the explanation.
explaining and he was trying to finish.
So
I don't
He's
want the
doing long.
explanation. I'm shocked.
Rex Omar was basically saying, send your tour adonko. Not adonko tour as in what he's trying to suggest. No. But he's singing. So there needs to be a rhythm to what he's saying. There needs to be cadence to it.
So the singing tour.
It's okay. Let's continue. It's okay. Let's continue.
Oh God. Bottom line, I don't want to be called Abiba. Because the Blasters will do the job. Or will they? Charlie, not the ideal start that we wanted. Obviously, losing the way they did to Capo Verde. Okay. Listen, I don't know about you guys, man, but when that last goal went in, I was numb. I couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. Against Egypt, Ghana's record in second group games at the AFCON is really good.
Oh,
Listen, I have to find something to give myself.
say it.
This is how you people get heart attacks.
When you say it, Charlie, you are jinxing that. You don't say it.
Okay, DK. Let's talk about the match. Egypt didn't start well themselves. Obviously, Mozambique were very unlucky to draw that match. I thought they deserved to win. A start that would blow your mind. The Mozambique squad, only 2 players in that squad have previously played at an AFCON. So, and one of them is a 40-year-old. And 10 of their players actually play in the Mozambican league, which ended in November. So for 2 months now, they have not played football. When you watch that game they played against Egypt, did it look to you like a team that was lacking in match fitness?
No, because
And that is what you talk about, the desire, the heart, and everything. In our game against Capo Verde, we didn't see that. Players didn't run enough. It just looked, some of them looked out of sort. It was just a performance that was very chaotic in ways that were not pleasant for the Ghanaian to watch, and the result just topped it up. We deserved to lose. We had 1 shot on target in the entire match against Cape Verde. Cape Verde had 4 shots on target. Okay, Cape Verde took more shots than us. I think they took 15 shots or so. We did 10. You understand me? And it was embarrassing. They had more possession. The Cape Verde had an XG of 2.99. They should have scored 3 goals per the chances that they created. You know what our XG was?
1.7 or something.
It was less. It was like 1.23 or something like that. So we didn't create enough, obviously. So looking at that, and you look at Egypt and the way they played against Mozambique, they fought really hard. How do we match up against them? Like, you know, like all jokes aside, this is tough, bro.
Friend, it's tough. But see, Look here. I figured it out.
This is what you did the last time, and we still ended up losing.
See, the last time I was suggesting.
And this time,
We are telling you.
If you don't listen to me, this one, we are not joking. This is very much against my personal principles when it comes to football.
before you go on, Daniel, you know something? Me, I have given up on analyzing Ghana games tactically. Like, no matter what you do, it doesn't work.
Oh, if they listen to me, it will work. This time I'm very sure.
Chama.
In fact,
Okay.
you remember when we spoke about the Cape Verde game?
Brother, you took out the crosses, Chama. You are a prophet.
Look at the chances we created in the game.
For crosses.
Koningsdorfer, when he hit the post.
Cross.
When Gideon Mensah swung it to him, he miskicked it with his left foot. Cross. Semenyo across the pole to
Cross.
Jordan's assist to
Cross.
Nyama.
Cross. No, Semenyo to pencil.
Semenyo to pencil.
Yeah.
Cross. You saw it. You saw
All
it.
our chances in the game.
Daniel, don't suggest
Meanwhile,
again.
we attempted just to off crosses.
Don't suggest again.
We're not
tell
as serious.
Tell
Now,
him.
I'm
Don't
giving the
suggest
message.
again. Tell
Deliver the
him.
message.
Tell him.
And we sit here and we do our.
Charlie, there's a Ofori in some way. Are you keeping him?
Charlie, the way things are going, we can't change goalkeeper in the competition. So I'll leave him like that.
Okay.
I don't think that Salisu's performance was based on his poor defensive relationship with Jiko. I think it was just down to lack of match fitness.
Yeah.
And
3 competitive games.
I would
this
not
season.
risk it.
You
So
bench him.
in as much as I don't want Amate to be playing in the back four, I have to bring him in because Salisu doesn't look like he's the best. In the
You are
best shape.
ditching Salisu for Amate.
Oh yes.
Okay.
So just because of match fitness,
No wahala.
yes, it's not the one
So-
game against Cape Verde that is going to bring him back to full match.
So the
fitness.
other 3,
So Gideon Mensah and then the right back.
Chama, they said Professor Songwe.
Oh, Professor, I'll tap. I'll play Ali Hussein. No, I'm saying, and as I build my lineup, you get.
Do you trust Ali Hussein to be disciplined enough in this match? He can be.
You see, Ali Hussein, I think we've been very unfair to him. Ali Hussein has had a very, very brilliant Black Stars career. Then he has
So
that
far.
one moment against USA, and then he overshadows.
He didn't
I think he's a
Standard
good.
is good.
I think he's a good player. He
No.
still plays in France.
He's a very
Every
good
single-
player.
Yeah, every
He's a
single,
very
no
good
doubt
player.
about that.
See,
And,
the issue with
and it
Ali
wasn't
Do-
a bad performance against USA.
The issue
it was
with
that
Ali Do-
moment.
The issue with Alidu isn't because he's become a bad player. It's because he's caught the cancer that is in the Black
He
Stars.
hasn't caught it. He hasn't
Because
caught it.
look,
Cultural infection.
I don't want
But,
to.
but let's bring him in.
I don't
He's
want to believe
probably
he has
more
got
solid
it.
defensively. Go on,
He
Daniel.
can do the job.
Yeah.
Now, I'm putting Alidu Seidu in because
Trezeguet?
going forward,
No.
he's very he will stick at the back and deal with his man. And we need to do that. You can say I'm not going for a back 3. Now I'm saying this because, Charlie, we have to be brave in this game.
I agree.
We've watched the competition from day one. Usra undi.
That's it. That's it.
Usra undi.
Namibia have beaten Tunisia.
Yeah.
If you are afraid, you will not top.
Chama, Angola held
Mozambique didn't
Algeria.
sit back the whole game against Egypt.
Equatorial Guinea held Nigeria.
Cape Verde beat Ghana.
Cape
And they
Verde
didn't
beat
beat
Ghana.
Ghana by playing counter-attacking. They took the game to us and they beat us.
Yes.
Look, when you listen to the post-match from the various players in that team, they feel shackled. They say they are not playing football enough. They are not being aggressive enough. We need to take the shackles off this team.
Yeah.
And that's why I'll put Salis in there.
To play in that DM.
Salis as my DM. Then
I'm
I put
interested in the other 2.
Ashimeru.
Mhm.
Then I put Mohamed Kudus.
In midfield.
In midfield.
Kudus has actually not played in that number 8 in a while. But when he first moved to Ajax, that's where he played. And he was very good.
And I'm pairing him with Ashimeru because, you see, off the ball, and I think Kudus has killed that nonsense about his lack of work off the ball with what he's doing at West Ham United. He's been brilliant. So now we know he can do it. And since he can do it, you have to let him do it. Give him that instruction. Ashmeru defensively against Cape Verde was a bit poor, but that was because they were outnumbered in midfield.
Of course.
You can't.
Konisdorfer wasn't helping.
He wasn't helping
because of where he played.
Because of where he played, exactly. So if you have the work rate of Ashmeru and Kudus off the ball paired with Salis, who can properly.
I actually like that midfield.
I think we can get the job done. There's a lot of running and there's a lot of intensity in this midfield.
And good creativity.
Yeah, and good creativity also. And that is because of who we are facing. The midfield three in Egypt. El Neni has lost a bit of pace.
He has. The Mozambicans ran him to the ground.
They ran him to the ground. Zizo is good, but tactically he can get a bit too indisciplined. When he moves forward, he doesn't retreat fast enough. So if you can have these guys very disciplined, running their socks off, we can do something. Then on the wide areas, I'll maintain Joseph Pinson.
He had a good game.
I'll keep Semenyo up top.
Had a decent game.
And I'll keep Jordan Ayew on the left-hand side.
Osman, maybe?
No. From the start, I'll keep Jordan Ayew.
We need someone to help Gideon with Salah, isn't it?
It's not that. You see, funny enough, up until the Black Stars scored the equalizer against Cape Verde, Jordan Ayew had created the most chances in the game.
Had he?
Yes, he had. Up until that point. What we needed at that point in time was pace on the wings, because we were clearly showing that we were causing trouble down that side. So if you wanted to make a move or if you wanted to make a change, you don't maintain Jordan, who has lost space down the wing. You shift him inside, because you've tried that experiment before. 3 times since you took over the team.
Yeah.
He's tried it against Angola, where that move made the difference. Shifted Jordan in, brought Ashmeru, brought on Joseph Pinson on the right
Osman.
side, and Iñaki, and then Osman Bukari, and that made a difference.
Yeah.
So the front 5 that you have experimented then could easily have been repeated against Cape Verde. Yet he brought on Andre, who sort of slowed down up, and then Jordan already would have space. So it just killed our momentum, and that was the game. So I'm saying I'll keep Jordan from the start for a balance sake. And creative, in terms of creativity also, against Cape Verde, his offensive combination with what's his name, Gideon Mensah, was really good.
Yeah.
It was really good. In fact, I think...
In fact, the two of them, if they were lucky, they would have had 2 assists.
Easily.
Because Gideon's cross to Koningsdorfer should have been a goal.
Should have been a goal. Even Iñaki had a very good opportunity from Gideon's cross set up by Jordan. So, I would go with this lineup, and it's very offensive. And I'm saying we need to be brave. If you look at the diamond up here, Semenyo, Kudus, Ashmeru, Salis. These guys have energy. The intensity is there. Joseph Pinson offensively was brilliant against.
Very direct. I like that.
And you see, this is a youthful, energetic, powerful team. Because Egypt, if you look at their right back on the day, he was so poor he had to be substituted. Fatih. And Fatih is their starting right back. So he's going to play. Hegazi, Winnie, he's going to play.
Egypt has the oldest squad in the tournament.
They are very old. And Mozambique showed us that. If you're able to look, Egypt can't sustain that intensity throughout the game. If you're able to match them, they are going to tire. So if we sit back and we allow Egypt to come at us, they are never going to get tired.
I agree.
And they are going to carve us
because
we've shown that even when we sit back, we are not compact enough. So be brave. If we are brave in this game, look, we can fashion our chances.
The key word is bravery.
Bravery. Go at them.
Courageous.
Be courageous. Go at them. And later on in the game, okay,
when we have scored on one goal,
Semenyo has shown that yes, he tires up a bit. Then I'll take him off.
That's right.
I'll push Kudus up top here. I'll bring Jordan inside.
Number 10.
I'll drop Ashmeru.
Then you bring Osman over there.
Take him off. Bring Baba.
Show up things. And put Osman there.
Put Osman. So that when we have a back 6.
And then we are going.
Solid defense.
Then we move into counter mode.
You move into counter mode with Joseph Pinson. Maybe I even take Pinson off and bring Nyama. Switch Nyama here. Osman. Kudus.
So very traditional wingers. Left footed on.
No.
Speed.
into space.
Okay. Enough of the word dreams. Let me bring you back to it.
No, I agree.
I'm going to bring you back to
the reality.
I don't need
it's true because you can say all you want. Chris Uti will give us what he always gives us.
What did I tell you guys the last time? All of the tactical idea in there, you will see the double people.
Hey, Chama, you can even kneel down here. You can kneel down here. We
Wait.
I told you people, you will see the double people.
Chris Hilton watches this podcast because he has never started Ashimura until I told him to do it.
No, actually use the red buttons.
No, you
it's clearer that way.
I just want to establish something.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. We had something similar to this, right? Something similar to this against Cape Verde. When Denis Odoi said there were too many gaps between the lines, this is what he was talking about.
Yes.
So
you complained about it.
Look, I could have built, if you call Def Track, you could have
built 2 matches.
Oh, Nana. 6 of those units between the midfield, the defense, the midfield, and then the attack. And I'm saying defense and midfield because they seem to be on the same line all the time. Right? Meanwhile, for any properly functional team, you would find something like this. You would perhaps find situations where players are closer, so shorter distances between them.
It's very important.
Yes.
Compact.
So when they are moving forward, they move together. So at any point in time, you've got triangles all over the pitch. You've got triangles here. You've got triangles here. If they want to combine, which makes it easier to combine. And when they are pressing, they press like a wolf pack. They go together. But Denis Odoi says, this was our situation. I'm telling you.
He wasn't lying.
He wasn't lying. That was what we saw. And so this young man
why
here,
we're overpowered.
Yes, this young man here, Yeboah, was supposed to cover this space, and then when the ball comes here, still be here. So and he doesn't have that tank to cover this. Look, even for regular central midfielders, when you ask them to do this job, they will get tired.
It's a very difficult one.
The man we are working with is wedded to a set of principles, and he falls in the category of coaches who are either incapable or unwilling to coach any team beyond their own insecurities. And his insecurities here have to do with balance and space.
So
but
what do you think
that would not have been a problem if he's able to compensate for that by actually giving you solidity. Because the whole point of the compact football, the counter-attacking,
so that we don't concede chances.
Is that we don't concede chances.
So we are conceding chances.
But we are. And that is why I don't have a lot of faith that we are going to see look, the structural issues that we have identified are too much to be fixed in 48 or 72 hours. So yes, they are going to review the game. They are going to look at the combinations between, and one of the problems I think he's going to find has to do with who plays as the LCB, the left centre back.
Daniel thinks that he should yank Salisu for Amate.
And the reason he gave us
switch them
fantastic
up.
because if he's not match fit, 90 minutes against Cape Verde is not going to bridge that, because one of the main action spots for Egypt is going to be on that left side. At the last AFCON, Mohamed Salah scored 4 out of the 7 goals that Egypt scored. In the qualifiers, he played 4 matches. He scored 2, gave 3 assists. So he is Mr. Egypt. Apart from him, the other player that they depend on is Mustafa Mohamed, who doesn't score a lot of goals.
In fact, he's only scored 1 AFCON goal, which came against Mozambique.
In 8 games.
Yeah.
But he's a warrior. He's a fighter. In fact, in the French league this season, only 4 players have won more aerial duels than him as far as the forwards are concerned.
Pause. Before you continue, you see the way somebody doesn't score, but he's a warrior, he's a fighter. That one is an advantage.
He scores 2. He has 7 goals this season.
No? He said aerial duels.
It's not an advantage.
I'm just telling you. Scoring goal. But you're saying it's
I didn't say it's an advantage.
He's scoring.
I didn't say it's an advantage.
Games without scoring, but he wins the most duels in his
Behave
team.
yourself.
I'm not mentioning anybody's name, but you continue.
That is one player who is very athletic and is going to cause problems for whoever is going to partner.
Then he's a striker.
Jiku in that position.
Okay.
So whoever you're going to play, do you go with Salisu, who we suspect may not have be in the right physical condition to partner because Gideon Mensah Obebre, like Obefa hit. So he needs someone who's going to be sharp enough and up to the task.
Jordan is there, he will drop and help.
No, I'm talking about the left centre back, right? Either him, because if you look at Mohamed Salah's goals at Liverpool, a lot of the goals he scores are from this
half space.
Yes, the half space here, getting inside the box. Essentially, the area where the left centre back is supposed to police.
You mentioned our problem.
So either him or Amati.
Okay.
Who, for my money, look,
Amati won't come there. If Amati comes in to partner Jiku, they will switch.
Jiku
goes left.
So if you want to do it that way, then that's fine.
Yeah, that's what.
That's
how they've always played.
So
that's how they've always played.
That's your
Jiku
best
will go
bet.
left. Amati goes to the right side.
For me, I think Chris Hughton goes this, Salis, Baba Idrisu, Ashimiru Majid. Then possibly plays Iñaki here, Semenyo, Jordan. I don't think Kudus is going to start.
Interesting.
When you go for this, he gets his fixation with DM, with 2 DMs.
He satisfies his cravings.
He satisfies his cravings there. Thank you very much. But he also here plays someone who's familiar with being an number 10 or being asked to be the brains of the operation. So he controls the tempo in this area, determines whether the team goes a notch faster, whether we go for the attack or we slow the game down and bring it back. Unfortunately, where you really need that to happen is in this area. But the manager is not the kind who would want his team to have that midfield control. He doesn't want it, right? And I'm more comfortable with this because you have a bit more solidity and you have someone who will not be playing with the fear of aggravating or picking up an injury, as Mohamed Kudus will be doing. And the only condition or circumstance where Kudus should play is if we are sure, minimum 85% that he can play without problems.
I would take an 85% fit Kudus
from Mohamed Kudus.
Yeah,
But that would also mean adjusting the team because look, a Kudus who is not 100% fit, you cannot ask him to play number 10 because the exertions of that role may run him into the ground and then you risk.
Even to be fair, a lot of Kudus's game actually it's very physical dependent.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because he takes a lot of knocks. He likes to hold onto the ball, so he's always
his style of play draws a lot of fouls.
It does.
So it's not something that I'm going to risk.
Okay.
What will be important for me?
One thing I know for sure is that Kudus is fitter than you. Your knees seem to be giving up on you.
No. What will be important for me?
You don't train.
What will be important for me?
You've knelt down for like a few minutes and you are panting.
What will be important for me is that whoever plays here with Seydou Alidu needs to maintain the balance of the weight. Mr. Alidu he doesn't like this space here. Build him a 5-bedroom apartment. He doesn't like it. So whoever plays here needs to understand that the job is to get to the byline and then send it. Look, the Egyptians are old. The average age of the Egyptian team is 28.9, is it, or 28.2?
They're the oldest team in the tournament.
And it reflects in their defense. Hegazi and Co. They don't have the legs.
Yeah.
What they don't want is to defend crosses, especially the kind that we started sending the game
what
against.
they are more comfortable with. Okay, especially those on the carpet.
Look,
but if you're putting them in the sky, we have no chance.
Look, for this game, the approach picks itself out. The Ghana team is not trained to sustain possession. It is not trained to pass the ball or play in the middle. Our best route to getting chances and possibly goals is out wide.
Okay,
right?
Fair enough.
Whatever happens, engage them in these areas. I don't care what you do, right? Which formats the chances are going to come in, but engage them in this. Stretch the game. Make their centre backs and their holding midfielders.
Let them work.
Let them work. Let them work.
Yeah.
And that is the only way.
Because we have a tendency to actually let teams be too comfortable in possession. It's like we don't press them enough. We don't stretch them enough.
We don't. And you see, my fear in this game is that we, over time, have not shown a capacity to sustain momentum. So when we have a good spell, sometimes we actually self-destruct.
Yes, by substitutions.
And you know, what was disappointing for me with what Chris Hughton did was that Chris Hughton was part of the technical team when we made that same mistake against Portugal. Immediately we scored, we decided to throw on 3 new players. At that time, we all assumed, okay, Otuado is a rookie, so he probably doesn't understand. But what we've come to see is in football is that for experienced managers and experienced coaches, when they score, they would want
to breathe a bit.
Let the team breathe. Let the team settle.
They have to.
Before you try to change the dynamic. Because
see,
when players come into
what
the
they're
game,
saying, a team is most vulnerable.
when they've just scored.
Yeah.
Because players will take a minute or two to settle into the game.
Yeah.
Right. The other day, Sicho was explaining the Jordan situation and the goal that many blamed him for against Portugal. It will happen to every other player because they need to get to grasp with the temperature of that game. We beg them.
No, but you see, friends, 3 seconds.
Rest your knees.
The problem is not the substitute. For me, the problem is not even the substitution.
It's personnel and system change, yeah?
We've consistently taken off the guys responsible for giving us that momentum.
That's the problem.
The guys
That's
who
the
are playing well
self-destruction.
and driving us forward, you take them off and then you bring.
So it's almost like, hey, you people, you are overworking.
Come and sit down. And
Okay.
you see, and more of the problem is also that the people coming to replace them, even in profile,
They are not the
in
same.
age,
Yeah.
in ability, don't match that energy.
That has always been our problem, right? Misprofiling. It's a big deal. And planning. Because honestly, in this tournament, I don't think we actually thought about a proper plan B for Mohamed Kudus.
Friend, let me just add this quickly. When Andre came off the bench against Cape Verde,
Yeah.
what I genuinely thought was going to happen with that triple substitution was Andre was going to the top.
Yeah.
Andre was going to the top. Jordan was coming inside to the number 10. Iñaki was going to the right. Enyama was coming to the left. That's what I thought was going
So
to
we
happen.
send him more crosses.
So we sent him more crosses for Andre because that's what he wants.
Yeah, true.
But what happened was Andre was now doing senior man ball.
Yeah.
They asked Andre to be playing in and around the box,
bro, where did
everywhere
that come
except inside the box, where he'll be most dangerous.
God. So,
Charlie, Chris Houghton, what's up? We don't want to come home early.
okay. Having
At the
said that,
last AFCON, we came home early. We don't want to come home early.
my brother, it's the hope that kills you. Right now, I'm thinking about how I'm going to survive with the name Abiba. Because Obiano, no worry.
Charlie,
Everybody and they are worrying. Prediction.
Charlie.
You know, amongst all of us, I was the only one who predicted we were going to lose to Cape Verde. Interestingly. Do you think we can get a result?
If Chris Houghton listens to me,
We'll get a result. And if he listens to Achu,
if he listens, no, but I choose.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I like it. If he listens to himself,
Charlie,
we'll
the thing,
lose.
it shouldn't be this difficult.
oh God.
Like, especially in terms of how we approach the game and how we start.
Yeah.
You can't set up to fail from the beginning. I mean, look, because I said from the beginning that once we knew, and was it you or Danny who said we didn't seem to have a plan for Kudus Mohamed?
I just said
The
that.
moment we knew this is the fixture schedule, Cape Verde before Egypt, and we don't have a semblance of chemistry, that Cape Verde game, we should have approached that game with the same template we would use for the Egypt game. So that whatever you go into that game,
Champion,
you would have tested
we don't
it
have a
before.
plan. We didn't have a plan for Partey's injury. Partey missed. We didn't have a plan.
What
B.
I don't understand, it's Chris Houghton has been here for a while. I'm not even looking at it since he came in. From when this season started, the international breaks, from September till now, he's experimented in the absence of Kudus. He's experimented 2 players, in fact 3 players in the number 10 role. From the start, Koningsdorfer against Namibia, Jordan Ayew against Namibia, Jordan
Angola.
Ayew against Angola. From the bench, Jordan has played number 10 twice. Has played from the start once. So at least 3 times under Chris Houghton, he's been experimented as a number 10.
And when he became critical,
Only once under Chris Houghton has he experimented Koningsdorfer as a number 10. When I saw the lineup, what gave me joy with that lineup was legit. I thought Koningsdorfer was going to his favorite play wide Jordan through the middle. And when the game started and it wasn't working tactically because the player had been misprofiled and the player was clearly struggling to understand the rule.
You see,
he
for
could
me,
have even switched.
but guys, for me, and at the risk of sounding controversial, the bigger problem was not even where Koningsdorfer played. The problem was the supporting cast around him. Because when he had the ball, every time he would try to swivel around the opponent.
Because he was isolated.
And I'm saying that even if he was successful, the nearest player was 15 yards away from him. So the structural issues or the lack of it made it impossible for him to have any kind of success opposed to his skill sets.
What's your prediction for Egypt? You seem like a very fake Aigbe man to me.
Nana, I'm a realist.
He's never predicted anything correctly. It's like, why? Your grandfathers, they don't look or what?
Charlie.
But at least the Mallam didn't disappoint me the last time around.
Ivory Coast is not very far. Look, I can catch a bus to Nogopo by midnight.
What are you saying?
Nogopo is not far. I can get you.
So you're saying that
only be able to
we should stop this recording so that you go to Nogopo and come back.
The Black Stars are more important. I won't only be able to get you a scoreline. I'll be able to do something about the real match outcome.
No wahala.
You change something small.
So that's down the Black Stars. Hopefully on Thursday, we get a decent result.
Hopefully.
It's all right. All right, let's now talk about Ghana's other group game. Okay. Capo Verde with 3 points take on Mozambique. Who were unlucky not to get 3 points against Egypt. They have 1 point. And they are currently occupying in second position, I believe, in the group. Daniel, I'll give that one to you.
I think their styles cancel each other out. Cape Verde are more possession oriented. They like to have the ball, benching that high line. Yes, they are high, they come at you. But Mozambique are also very difficult to break down, as we saw against in the Egypt game. Extremely difficult to break down. And they are deadly on the counter-attack. The intensity that they play with is something that must be watched. But I think Cape Verde can handle that intensity. And I think Mozambique are a bit too difficult to break down, and Cape Verde will struggle to do that. So I think they'll cancel each other out. I think this game will end in a draw. It's not just what I feel, it's also what I want and need to happen. No, seriously, you've already started calculating. It's true. If they don't lose,
if either team wins,
we are in serious trouble. So we need a draw in that game. And I believe, look, I serve a living God. They'll draw. You don't do calculation for other people.
Oh, Black Stars. You know, when they start losing, then their name becomes Blaster.
Blaster.
Blaster. Will put man in trouble. Mozambique, Cape Verde. I think Mozambique might have just done too much in the game against Egypt. So I am tipping Cape Verde to actually win that match.
You have to draw. It's not about what you think. It's about what we need. The results that we need.
But it should be a cracking game.
Any win in that match is
trouble for us.
No, they have to draw.
But it was a cracking game. If Cape Verde wins 6 points, they're through to the next round. And then Egypt, Ghana, and Mozambique will have to chase the remaining spots. Anyway, Senegal against Cameroon.
Yeah.
Another clash of the tournament. Senegal are on some wonderful winning streak. In fact, they've won 4 of their last 5 matches. Cameroon have drawn all their last 4 games as well. They might be welcoming Andre Onana into the starting lineup.
Why?
Ondoa conceded for starters, but okay.
Why? Onana keeps clean sheets or
why? Why?
Onana was upset that they didn't include him in the team against. We are not going to talk about.
I'm going to try to.
We're not going to talk about. We're going to talk about a match. Okay. We're not digressing.
Okay.
Leave Onana alone. He said he loves his country, and that's why he's there.
There's a decision to be made about the choice of goalkeeper for the match. See, even if Ondoa had conceded 5 goals in that game,
he should still start.
He should still be in the post.
Will he be able to stop the Senegalese attack? Because they are on riot. Senegal have started the competition like real champions. 20-year-old Lamine Camara. Oh my God.
But what's the guarantee that Onana would not have shipped in goals?
I did not say he would. I'm just praising Senegal.
I'm talking like Onana is some
Lamine
You asked me what's the guarantee that he can stop.
Lamine Diarra, my word. Lamine Camara, sorry. Hey, Lamine Diarra the other day. Lamine Camara, my word, 20 years old. He's gone through the whole meal. And the 20 best player, Chan. He was also a key player for that CHAN team. They won the CHAN, won the under-20. He played for both teams. He was phenomenal. He's going to Mets. The way he announced himself, go from center. This kid is unstoppable.
Someone cooked him in the studio, in the laboratory. Yeah, someone cooked.
So yeah, you're like, this is
Hi, GFA, Executive
so
Council,
a
Sports
super
Ministry.
soldier,
Please
kind of.
pay attention and listen to
If
this.
you're good enough, you're old enough.
Pay attention, GFA, Sports Ministry. Lamine, Sadio Mane, Ismail Assar, Papa Gueye, Generation Foot.
Straight to Europe too.
Generation
Not some-
Foot. In fact, the first time Senegal won the AFCON, they had 8 players, 4 apiece from Diamba's Academy and Generation Foot. Patrick Vieira's Diamba's Academy.
Yes.
They are adding value to the talents they have.
Yes.
So when they send Lamine to Mets,
Straight
he's
into the
scoring
first team.
On his debut.
when they
From
sent
center.
Sadio Mane, at that time, the best football academy in Europe, Mane did
To
not look
Red
out
Bull.
of place at Red Bull. When we send our players, they go to Liefering, Wolfsberger, sometimes second division of North Zealand.
Masa, Croatia, Romania.
The reason I want
Bulgaria.
the sports ministry and the FA to pay attention is that repeatedly, and in the last 15 years, I think 2 of the best talents we have sent abroad have been Efriye Barnier and then Abdul Fattah Issahaku. Fattah especially. At the clubs that they went to, the coaches there told us that these guys, the basics in their game, the
lack
technical fundamentals are non-existent. It's not that it is there and it needs some polishing. They don't have it.
Zero.
Which means whatever it is we are teaching the kids here, it is baller.
It's rubbish.
Nobody is intentional about the talent development. In Senegal, in Mali, in Ivory Coast to a certain extent, there is a deliberate attempt to influence the talents that is being developed. And so if you look at the players that Senegal are exporting, high volumes of central attacking midfielders and forwards. It is not happening by chance.
Mm-hmm.
It is not by chance that Lamine, Idrissa Gueye,
Papi
Papa
Matar
Gueye,
Sarr.
Matar Sarr, and all of these boys. If Bissouma, and the funny thing is, some of these boys, when they need to get these European passports, it is Ghana that they come to. If Bissouma came
Not
to Ghana,
passport, visas, you mean.
visa, sorry. It was Ghana that if Bissouma came. Sadio Mane came
Yeah, of course.
to Ghana before he flew away. You shouldn't just be the airport
The
or the country
transit
where
point.
transit points. No, we have talents.
Fair enough. Cameroon, they are just like Ghana. So they could as well have been listening to what you are saying. Because that's the only reason Onana is able to do that to them.
But see, that it's, again, allow me. When they won the AFCON, has anyone bothered to check Ondoa's record before that time? The year prior, he had been moved from Barca to, there was a lower gymnastics.
Yes.
And then Mafamut. Third year of Spanish football, they beat him. He didn't make the grade. He went to Sevilla B. He didn't make the grade. In 3 years, he had kept the post on 6 occasions. Just 6 competitive matches.
And yet at the AFCON, he was a beast in 2017. Fair enough.
That was the same AFCON Onana said he won't come because he was
He
doing
also joined some people.
He was
The
doing
guy came, he won the AFCON today. Onana, and you see the Onana nonsense.
And
it's not as
I
if he has
believe they are
credibility.
cousins, aren't they? They are cousins.
They are cousins. It's not as if Onana is on the back of some brilliant form that gives him credibility.
Okay. Enough
He's
of
slander for the mommy.
Onana slander. Enough.
It's not
It's
Onana
not
slander.
slander
It's
if it's
facts.
true.
What's that?
Okay.
It's not slander if it is
Okay.
true.
You stayed at Man U only to ship 2 goals against Tottenham UK. What did you do? Pass ball. You said if you don't go and play
So
midfield.
because of Onana's
If he
annoyance,
keeps the post, Sadio Mane is getting a hat-trick on Friday.
Senegal are beating them.
Oh, my
I know
God.
what's that.
Okay, fair enough. So it's that straightforward. Senegal beats Cameroon
Because of Onana.
because of Onana.
If Onana doesn't catch it, to be 2. If Onana catches it, to be 4. What's that?
Interesting. The last competitive game between these two sides has to be AFCON 2017. It was
Yeah, Cameroon won
Cameroon
the
who
penalties.
kicked
Yeah.
them out of the competition. Our next game to talk about is Guinea-Gambia. Guinea started the competition
Very well.
very well. The Gambia not so much, losing obviously to Senegal. Guinea got that draw against Cameroon, and Guinea did it without their key player.
Yeah. Without Guirassy and Naby Keita.
Naby Keita and Guirassy as well. 2 key players, actually. If they get them back against the Gambia.
I don't think Guirassy will be fit for that game.
Okay.
But I'm sure Naby Keita will start. Funny enough, with the Guinea and Gambia and Senegal game, I think Gambia collapsed because Senegal are just too good.
Yeah.
I think that's the case. I think they'll revert back to default settings against Guinea. Very compact, very difficult to break down. Not every team has Lamine Camara and Sadio Mane in there. So maybe they'll be able to survive. And Guinea themselves, they've had a goal scoring problem over time. And I think the safest bet for this game is under 2.5.
Interesting. Let's talk about Algeria. The way they started the game against Angola, I thought, damn, these guys are here. They're back for business. Then they concede a very funny penalty. And then the match ends in a draw. Obviously, Putne just scored some fantastic, the best Angola I have seen. I would probably ever see at the AFCON. But 1-1 draw. I will be honest and say that was a really surprising result because we played Angola twice. Ghana played Angola twice in the qualifying. And we saw their strength. They're not that good. But the way they held Algeria, it's now suddenly making me question Algeria's strength or ability. I thought they would have been, like, they would have dispatched them with ease, but it wasn't. Burkina Faso against them, that is a very tricky game. If anything, I feel Burkina are probably stronger than Angola.
So the problems that we saw from the last AFCON have not gone away. I'm just going through the numbers. They had an expected goals of 4.9.
Unbelievable.
And they scored just 1 from those years. And we're talking about Sierra Leone, Equatorial Guinea. Those were the kind of opponents. Of course, the Ivory Coast game took a massive swing because they conceded 4 goals, and that invariably pushes the numbers forward. But essentially, there is a problem of putting chances away ever since they won the AFCON. Then there is a problem of being able to sustain midfield and control momentum. So you mentioned the fact that it looked like they were doing really well. At the point when they needed someone to just allow the team to breathe, take the steam out of the game and not make it a contest, they didn't have that. And that's what offered Angola a route back into the game. And when a football match becomes end-to-end, that open, you are basically counting on the opponents not to take the chances that they score, or not to score the chances that they create, or not to convert good openings into goal-scoring chances, which is criminal at this level.
So then, against Burkina Faso.
So you have a team that is not clinical in front of goal. You have a team that is not able to control games. I think Burkina Faso is where they really, the flaws get to be properly exposed because they are not going to have that many opportunities to score. Yes, Boneja is like a cheat code because he can convert a half chance into a goal. But Burkina Faso are going to get something from this game.
Interesting. Daniel, Mauritania were not supposed to be that good against Mali. And I say that good against Burkina Faso. They lost the game 1-0. But anyone that watched Mauritania would have been very, very impressed with them. They played really good football. And their coach is Abdou, the one who supervised Comoros' famous victory against Ghana at the last AFCON. He's got them playing some really good football. They take on Angola, who would have been obviously high on the confidence from their draw against Algeria.
Yeah, I think Mauritania are really good. They've struggled. I think they've not scored an AFCON goal in their last, 10 matches? So they've gone on this very long streak without scoring a goal. And it was telling. It was telling the game against Burkina Faso because it's almost like they didn't believe they could score. They were creating the openings, creating very good scenarios, but it just wasn't getting in for them. And at the end of the day, you could just tell that the experience of the Burkinabes will come to bear. That it's just something about these big nations. They'll find a way to get the result, and Burkina Faso were finally able to do so. But against Angola, I think it will be a much different story. They will have to be a bit more compact because the Angolans, when they are facing, should I say, their mates, are a bit more expansive. They don't sit back and go on a counter attack, and they have some very good attacking players. If you saw the second half of the Algeria game, when they were very fearless and brave, they took the game to the Algerians and were creating some pretty good openings. And obviously, in terms of set pieces, they're also really dangerous because technically they have very good players who can deliver and very telling balls that will worry defenses. So it should be a very interesting one. I expect an exciting encounter. I don't see too many goals in there, but just like the games that we've seen throughout the competition, I think they've each lived up to expectation. Very, very good watchable games for 90 minutes. It doesn't need to produce a lot of goals, but I'm tipping Angola to get this one over the line. A very narrow victory for them.
If you'll allow just 2 minutes.
2 minutes is too much.
A minute on Mauritania. Please. Mr. Kreku, this one goes to you.
Okay.
The Mauritania that we are seeing today it directs or the perfect example of wise usage of the FIFA goal projects. Mm-hmm. We've seen the GFA says they've spent $8 million US of FIFA goal project. You cannot point to what they've used that money for. What has Mauritania used theirs for? They have a technical center right in the city center. They have a medical center close to it. They use part of that money, and I'm talking about just $11.1 million US to complete their Olympic stadium.
Just like you see some before.
as recent as 2016, Mauritania were at risk of not having a national stadium to host their national team matches. So they were forced to think they did. They used that money to complete the Olympic stadium, technical center. They have built training pitches. 3 of them are artificial pitches. They've used some of that money to strategize and then structure their national leagues well. So Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, giving them proper technical support. They've now set up a framework for their women's game and they are doing well. The impact of that is that for the first time in the country's history, they've made 3 consecutive AFCON appearances.
Wow. It's not by chance. It's by planning. It's by deliberate attempts, and it's by obviously a certain will and desire to be better. We have to get to that point ultimately. Anyway, that's it for another episode of Mallam Go. Do make sure to subscribe to this channel, and we're back again next week. Thank you very much, Achu Tamaklo. Thank you as well. And yeah, sure, we're back again next week with another episode. Until then, keep watching.